Good morning, class. I hope this finds you well. Most of you have started back at school at the moment, which is really positive. I'll be in next Friday, so I don't think I'll see any of you guys. So in the meantime, as you probably found yesterday with the PowerPoint, talking over the PowerPoint with some kind of tips and guidance, that's going to be a norm, as well as me trying to keep on top of these tutorials for people that are sequencing. And obviously at home in particular, keeping up your solo performance logs, making sure that you're practicing, etc. as normal. So with Daniel Bedingfield today, we're looking to be working from bars 19 all the way through to bars 20, where did I get to? 29, I think it was. 29, that's right. So, to be honest with you, the first, what would it be? First 6 bars, really straightforward. There's actually not that much to input. So if we take it from this little section here, okay, so we've got the vocal 1, synth 1, and synth bass. This is something that I had to keep reminding myself earlier on when I was talking about synth 1 and synth bass. Obviously, I set up my track at the very beginning in this order. So I had vocal 1 at the top. Synth 1 happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th one down. And then bass is the 8th one down. So make sure that you're just inputting in the right track. That's the thing I'll make a point of. So fast forward a little bit. Here we go, bar 19 to 22. So the vocal melody is quite constant. There's a lot going on there. But as you're going to see in a second too, there's a lot of repetition. To help you out, with bar 19, the synth 1 and the synth bass is identical to bar 17. So you can simply copy that across and paste it in the right place. So we're going to look at the vocal melody here. So bar 19, just make sure that when you're inputting this, that you're remembering that semiquavers are worth 1, quavers are worth 2. So that's going to be 1, 1, 2. This rest here is worth 2 squares. So if we go to my score for a second, scroll across to 19. As I just described, oops, get that in place. There we go. So we've got 1, 1, 2, 2 rest. And then we should have 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. And this is where there's a common theme here, so please pay attention with this one. Although it looks like a quaver, it's a dotted quaver, which means that we half the note and add the difference. So 2 divided by 2 equals 1. Add the 1 equals 3. So a semiquaver, dotted semiquaver, is worth 3 squares. Okay? And that will appear, as you can see here, and as you'll see further down, we've got that happening quite a few times. So just pay attention when you're inputting that you've got the right size note. Another thing to mention, and you'll see here, you'll notice, at the end of bar 19, which is this note here, you look at my score, I'm going over the bar line because the note is tied. So that means that this semiquaver and this semiquaver are joined together. So though that's worth 1 square and that is worth 1 square, because they're tied, I make sure that it's continuous. Okay? So again, you've got tied notes here, there, tied notes there, so just double check and take your time. Don't rush this, honestly. It's not worth rushing at all. So at the end of bar 19 there, we've got our tied notes. Then we've got another single semiquaver, as you can see here. And then the word U, we've got quaver, worth 2. And then we've got a rest, a crotchet rest, which is worth 4 squares. So I'm leaving 4 squares. And then we've got a melody moving up in step. So we've got a G, A, B flat and C, G, A, B flat, C. an E flat at the top there, and then we've got two Ds and a C. We've got that dotted quaver here, which is our B flat, and then we've got, so remember that's kind of sustained. Then we've got our C there, which goes across. Does it? Oh yeah, not the end of the bar yet, of course. That there, so that's 1. That's 2. So that equals 3. They're tied together. And then we go down to our A. G, I mean, sorry. Right. So, where's the pattern? Well, you can see here, this little bit there. Actually, no, that's not the pattern there. Pattern comes later on. Okay. This section here, which is bar 21, is the same as bar 23. No, it's not. Ignore me, please. Sorry about that. I'm doing this very early in the morning, quite sleepy. Continue to input as normal. Don't get confused like I've just got. Later on in this part, you will see, especially for from bars 25 onwards, that there is repetition there, okay? You'll notice, like, for example, this section here, where you've got the crotchet rest, moving up in step, crotchet rest, moving up in step. So that would be 12 bar. 26, 27 are the same as bars 22 and 23. Okay, so a little bit of a cheat there. But don't get confused. I feel like I've just confused everyone. Don't get confused. Input every single note if you want to. That's what I did, to be honest. I inputted every single note. But if you want to save yourself time and if you've got your head around it, you could copy and paste. Okay then, so moving down the score, moving across on mine. There's nothing, pretty much. You can see there, it's just vocal. Vocal from bars 22 all the way to bar 29. Nothing else. Except for this little drum cymbal, which comes in here for me. It's a reverse cymbal. Don't worry if it's not the same effect. A reverse cymbal is almost like the sound moving backwards. We haven't really got that function on here, so don't stress about that. It's a reverse cymbal, and then everything comes back in here on bar 29. And you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tracks. So this is the most we've had all at once in quite a while. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tracks. Vocal melody, very straightforward. Simp strings, again, we just got tied notes. So just remind yourselves, a minim is worth 2 whole beats, which in here is worth 8 squares. If I quickly bring that up, you'll see here, bar 29, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be a minim, okay? But because it's a dotted minim, we add the half. So you split 2 in half, which equals 1, add the difference. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now you'll notice I've got an extra little bit here. Why is that? Well, that note is tied to a quaver. So that quaver is worth 2 squares, which is that area right there, okay? Then we move it up in pitch from a G to an A, which is that second note. And if I was to continue to bar 30 there, you'd know that that note would be drawn out. But I haven't, I've stopped at bar 29. So just remember the tied notes are quite important. Synth 1 and bass are exactly the same. The only difference is this is treble clef. Okay, so that there is our G. And then this is bass clef, and you'll notice it's moved down. It's still a G, but we're in bass clef. So don't confuse yourself with the clefs. Make sure you're inputting the right note in the right space. Probably the most challenging thing is the chord section here, because again, this is in bass clef as well. So if I bring up my chords, Okay, so first note is an F, second note is a G, third note is a B flat, fourth note is a D. Now on this track it says electric piano. So where is my piano? So I went to GM2, and I chose electric piano. That way it's going to sound stylistic to what we're trying to achieve. And again, it follows the same rhythmic pattern as the synth part, the string part there, that string synth, where we've got a dotted minim. These are dotted minims and they're tied. So we've also got a quaver there, like we had here. So that's going to be worth 14 squares. 14 squares. Let's just double check I've got 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 squares. The next chord here, where we've moved up slightly, the notes for that are G, whoops, disappeared, G, A, C, and E. G, A, C, and E. Okay? And you'll notice it's a natural E. It's not an E flat. Key signature tells us it's an E flat, but the accidental, that natural symbol, means that we change it to an E natural. So don't put it as an E flat, please. Okay, drum pattern. Again, it's just using your common sense, using what you've learned before with drums. Bass drum at the bottom here. Snare drum, the second one furthest up, and then these top notes here are our hi-hats. It's worth 4 squares, 2 squares, 2 squares, 4 squares, 2 squares, 2 squares. If we go here, 4, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2. And the hi-hats, 2 square, 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 1, 1, 1, 1. 2 square, 2 square, 2 square, 2 square, 2 squares, 2 square. Okay. And they keep disappearing. Apologies there. Right. So, let's have a quick listen. Now, for some reason, the piano part is not playing there. Let me just reload this up. Sometimes, as I found quite frequently, the program does glitch slightly. So don't panic if you don't hear something. I'll have to get back to you as to why these notes aren't playing anymore. I just need to re-add the instrument sound. Okay, we've got our sound back. Okay, brilliant. So that's where we've got to for today, bar 29, 19 to 29. Let me know how you're getting on. You can do this at school. You should be able to access a computer if you want to today. Headphones in, and you should be able to crack on. If you're starting this from the beginning, don't worry. If you've had a couple of weeks off and you're a bit lost, don't worry. Just start from where it feels natural to do so. All of the tutorials that I've done up to now are still on YouTube, still on your email or on EduLink, so you can find all the information again. So yeah, let me know if you get stuck. Hope you're keeping well. Please send your work across. There are a lot of you that haven't yet. A lot of you that haven't sent work across. I'll have to go down the parent route or get other teachers to help me out with that. So please make sure you're keeping on top of things. So I'm not nagging you. Don't want to nag you. I just want to make sure that you're progressing well. Right, I've got like 15 seconds left. So I'll say goodbye. Take care. See you soon.